She kept getting gifts from a secret admirer. Then I recognized the handwriting on one of the cards. It was his. I returned all the gifts, with a bonus, a framed picture of us from last month's anniversary. Let me take you back to a time when I thought my marriage was solid. We lived in a cozy home in Richmond, Virginia. I was a nurse, working long shifts, and he was a software developer, mostly working from home. We had been married for 8 years, and while things weren't perfect, I believed we were happy. It started innocently enough. One day, I received a bouquet of roses at work with a card that read, "To the most beautiful woman in the world." There was no name, just "Your secret admirer." I was flattered, but also confused. I assumed it was my husband playing a romantic game. When I asked him about it, he feigned ignorance, saying, "I wish I had thought of that." Over the next few weeks, the gifts continued: chocolates, jewelry, even a designer handbag. Each came with a note from the secret admirer. I started to feel uneasy. If it wasn't my husband, then who was it? One evening, I received a handwritten letter at home. As I read it, my heart sank. The handwriting was unmistakably my husband's. He had a unique way of writing certain letters, and there was no doubt in my mind. I confronted him, and after some hesitation, he admitted to sending the gifts. He said he wanted to spice things up and see if I would be tempted by the idea of a secret admirer. I was furious. Not only had he deceived me, but he also tested my loyalty. I needed time to think, so I stayed with my sister for a few days. During that time, I decided to return all the gifts. I boxed them up, along with a framed photo of us from our last anniversary, and left them on our doorstep with a note, "Return to sender." When I returned home, he was gone. He left a note saying he needed time to reflect on his actions. It's been a year since then, and we are now divorced. I've learned that trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. I thought that was it. I really did. I thought returning those gifts, that framed photo, would be the end of the chapter. That he would fade into the background and we'd both try to heal. But I was so wrong. About 2 months after the divorce papers were signed, weird things started happening. It began with small stuff. One morning, I walked out to my car to head to work, same old routine, and there was a single daisy taped to my windshield. Just one flower, no note. I brushed it off. Maybe some neighborhood kid playing a prank. Then came the emails. Anonymous. No sender name. Just the subject line, "You looked beautiful in blue today." That's when my blood ran cold. I had worn a navy scrub top that day. I started scanning the hospital parking lot every time I left work. I told my boss. I told my friends. I told my sister. But I didn't tell the police. Why? Because I had no proof. Just flowers and emails, and this horrible gut feeling that someone was watching me, stalking me. I changed my email. Got a new phone number. I even installed security cameras outside my house. I stopped going out after dark unless I had someone with me. I told myself it was probably just some creep from the hospital or even a former patient. People get weird with nurses sometimes. I hoped it was that. Until the night I saw him. I was coming out of Target. It was maybe 7 p.m., still light outside, and there he was. My ex-husband. Standing near the side of the building like he was waiting for someone. Not moving. Just watching me. He didn't say anything, didn't approach. Just stood there like a statue. Our eyes met for a second, and I swear I saw something dead behind his. I called the police that time. Filed a report. But they said unless he threatened me or trespassed, there was nothing they could do. Fine. Two can play that game. I started digging. Checked social media, mutual friends, even the LinkedIn I hadn't touched in years. And that's when I found out the real twist. He never wanted the divorce. He was telling people I had left him for someone else. Spinning a whole story about how I was having an emotional affair with my boss, how I was confused and regretted it but was too prideful to say. Lies. Complete lies. But he was planting these lies with everyone we knew. Our friends, neighbors, even my parents. My mom started questioning me. My mom. That's when I knew he wasn't just watching, he was poisoning everything. And then, he escalated. My sister found a burner Instagram account. Photos of me. Leaving the house. At the grocery store. At work. At the gas station. All tagged with captions like, she doesn't even see me, and still so beautiful when she's unaware. She showed me, and I just broke down. I had been trying to hold it together. Work, life, pretending everything was okay. But seeing those photos made it all real. He was stalking me. For months. I printed everything. Every photo. Every email. Every screenshot. I took it all to the police and demanded a restraining order. They gave me a temporary one. But I wanted something more permanent. I was done being quiet. I was done being scared. I was done letting him have control. I hired a lawyer. I filed for a permanent restraining order. We went to court. And guess what? He showed up with flowers. Can you believe that? In front of the judge, holding a bouquet like it was all a misunderstanding. Like we were in some Hallmark movie and this was his big gesture to win me back. The judge saw right through it, issued the restraining order on the spot. 3 years, no contact, stay 500 feet away from me at all times. I thought that would be the end. But people like him don't give up that easy. So, after the restraining order, life started to calm down for a while. I got a dog. A big German Shepherd mix from a local rescue named Duke. I figured if anyone came too close, Duke would handle it before I had to. I changed up my routine too, different grocery stores, different driving routes, even started working day shifts only. For a couple months, I actually started to feel safe again. Until Duke started acting weird. He'd bark at corners of the house, especially near the front windows. Sniff around the yard like he was tracking something. At first, I thought maybe it was just squirrels or a raccoon, but he never used to do that. He'd freeze and growl at thin air. It put me on edge. Then one day, I went to grab something from the crawl space under the house. It's one of those low, dark ones that you can't even fully stand in, and I found a phone. Just sitting there. Wrapped in a plastic sandwich bag, wedged between two beams. I don't know what made me open it. I just had this cold, sinking feeling. I turned it on. No passcode. Just a basic Android phone. One app on the home screen, a motion-activated camera app. I opened the gallery. Photos. Of me. Inside my house. Cooking. Watching TV. Sleeping. That's when I started shaking. That's when I realized it was live. This wasn't old. This was now. I backed out. Called the police. They came and took the phone. Traced it. And guess what? It was his. Even with the restraining order. Even with the court telling him to stay away, he had installed a hidden camera in my living room. Crawled under my house and set it up like it was some kind of sick hobby. He got arrested. Finally, they took him in for violating the restraining order, stalking, illegal surveillance, the whole list. I thought, finally, this nightmare is over. But here's the kicker. The DA told me something I wasn't ready for. The phone wasn't the only one. They found a second device hidden in a fake rock by my back porch. And a third in my bathroom vent. My house wasn't just invaded, it was watched. For months. That moment broke something in me. I started questioning everything. Did he ever really love me? Was our whole marriage just control disguised as romance? Was he watching me even when we were still together? I started seeing a therapist. I needed to. I couldn't even sleep in my own bedroom for a while. I'd wake up shaking, certain someone was watching. Duke started sleeping right at the edge of my bed, like he knew I needed him there. The community came together, though. I won't lie, some people still doubted me at first, believed his version, or thought I was exaggerating. But after the news broke, after the arrest was made public, those same people started texting me apologies. Even his own brother wrote me an email. I had no idea. I'm sorry. The police found logs on the camera app, notes he had taken. About my routines. what time I left, who visited me, what I wore. One entry even said, "She cried today. Might be missing me." No, buddy. I wasn't missing you. I was mourning the person I thought you were. So, he was arrested. Multiple charges. I thought he'd be behind bars for a while. But because this is real life and not some movie where justice works cleanly, he made bail. Bail. He wasn't allowed near me, of course. Still under the restraining order. But just knowing he was out, walking around, breathing my same air, it made my stomach twist. I started carrying pepper spray on me at all times. Duke never left my side, even at night. And that's when the mail started. Not packages. Not flowers. No. These were letters. Handwritten. Same handwriting. No return address. Each one had a single line like, "You were my whole life," or "They can't stop me from loving you." Sometimes, it was just a heart drawn in red ink. I'd report them. The cops took them. But without proof he mailed them, there wasn't much they could do. And here's the part I'm not proud of. But I promise to be real with you. I got angry. No, furious. Furious that he still had power over me. Furious that I had to change my life because he chose to be a monster. I was tired of feeling scared. So I set a trap. A legal one. Calm down. I knew he'd break eventually. Guys like him don't know how to stop. So I wrote him a letter. I made it look like I missed him. Said I regretted leaving, that I wanted to meet and talk one last time. I rented a P.O. box in another part of town and mailed it from there, so it couldn't be traced back to me. I used my old nickname for him, something only I would know. And I waited. 1 week later, I got a reply. From him. His handwriting. His signature. The same creepy red heart at the bottom. Gotcha. I took it straight to my lawyer and the DA. Because now, we had proof. Proof that he broke the restraining order again. Proof that he was still obsessed. They fast-tracked his case. He was arrested again, but this time, he didn't get bail. Trial came fast. The prosecutors were ready. They had the photos. The videos. The fake Instagram. The letters. The police reports. The therapist records. And my letter. His reply. That sealed the deal. Guilty. On all counts. He got 10 years. 10 years in a real prison. No chance of early release. The judge called it one of the most disturbing patterns of stalking and psychological torment she had seen in her courtroom. I wish I could say I felt better. But the truth is, revenge is messy. Even when it's legal. I lost years of my life to this man. Trust. Sleep. Joy. And even though he's locked up, he still visits me in nightmares. But here's where it gets even more twisted. After the trial, I found out something I didn't expect. And it still haunts me. While the police were combing through his devices, they found photos of other women. Not just me. Neighbors. A barista at the local coffee shop. A woman he used to work with. He had watched them, too. Had little notes about them. Schedules. Comments on what they wore. He hadn't just been obsessed with me. I was just the one who stayed long enough to see the truth. So maybe I made mistakes too. Maybe I ignored red flags in the beginning. Laughed off his jealousy. Thought it was cute when he got controlling. I didn't speak up soon enough. Didn't protect myself fast enough. But now I speak loudly. I volunteer at a center for women in abusive relationships. I tell my story, every messy, terrifying part of it. I teach them what to look for, what not to ignore. And that leaving is never the end. But surviving? That's where the power lives. The last thing I did before I sold that house? I left one last gift on the porch. A wrapped box. Inside? Every single letter he ever wrote me. Every creepy card. Every photo he took without my knowing. And on top? The framed photo of us from our last anniversary. The same one I'd returned before. Only this time, I scratched my face out of it.